Okay, recording. We're good.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Hi, my name is Jasmine Bader and I represent Hacker on this matter. And I think that, and what is your name?
My name is Michael Cinto and I represent Stanley Starr, who is a 50% owner of HackerStar Incorporated, its company.
Okay, so I think that the reason why we were both retained is because there's some high emotional tensions going on with the two owners. Can you kind of tell me from your client's point of view, because I've gotten the emotionally charged conversation with my client, so can you kind of tell me from your client's point of view what the issues are?
Yes, absolutely. So, as I'm sure you're aware, Stanley Starr is mainly, predominantly the financial backer of HackerStar Incorporation's or Incorporated's company, and is also the chairman of the board and a 50% owner with Mr. Alan Hacker. And from what I gathered, your client has made 3 products so far under this company. There was the first 2, which we have annual financial reports from, and then more focusing on this third one, Power Screen. And it's obviously true that Alan seems that he wants this product to be just of his own and not of the company's, and Stanley wants the product to be of the company's. He wants it owned by HackerStar Incorporated. So obviously Alan differs, and I would, if you want to start by saying like what he's at with this.
I think there's been kind of a breakdown of communication. I don't necessarily think that my client doesn't want the new invention, the Power Screen, to be an invention that is owned by HackerStar. What his concerns are, I guess, are mostly focused around are that yes, he does have another offer on the product, and he feels that since he is the kind of the creative genius, and he understands that the capital was raised and brought to the table by Mr. Starr. Not necessarily that he does not want the product to be owned by HackerStar. I think he's just more upset that he brought the product to HackerStar. He gave presentations on it. He did this 6 times. His idea was shot down each time by your client, and so he took the product elsewhere, and there was interest. And now that there's been interest by a third party, I think he is upset that under his employment contract, which is pretty ambiguous on the non-compete agreement, is trying to take that product as his without giving credit to Alan. So I think overall what my goal here today is to kind of repair the relationship in general and then come to a solution about what to do with this new product and who will own. I know that the conversation got pretty heated, and they talked about breaking up the company. I just want to right off the bat, I don't think that is what either of them want. I think that was just a heat of the moment statement made. So I would definitely like to think of solutions to make it so that the company did stay together. So
okay, well, I think I say that we start with just so we clarify. Let's start with the employment agreement itself. Because obviously it seems that you believe there is ambiguity. I think it's pretty clear that there is no ambiguities in the contract. There may be a few, but were this to end in, I guess, disaster, where we would be going to court, which is what we're both trying to avoid, I think we just differ on the matter of what the employment agreement actually says. But that's just that's where we don't want to get to, correct?
Yeah,
we don't want to
I guess it's not within my scope of, representation on this situation to really deal with the employment contract because it was not drafted by me.
Absolutely.
I think let's set an agenda and
what do you
so
want
I
to start
think the
with
first thing that we could talk about,
Yeah.
and I think maybe the employment contract would be one of the last.
Okay, yeah, we can put that down at the bottom.
So
Easy.
I can
We
just
need
give
the
you
first one.
Yeah, so my client is, I mean, in order to, and this would be the agenda in order to keep the company together.
Okay.
And so obviously it's going to be the rights to PowerScreen.
So who owns
Yeah.
PowerScreen is where we're obviously looking at,
Yep.
correct? Okay.
And then after that, it would be, I think we're gonna be just wanting to discuss, I guess, potential changes to make one, the relationship better, and two, the company run better. So
Okay.
in order to repair the relationship, I mean, my client is, he's the creative genius behind it. He's come up with the products,
Mm-hmm.
and he believes that he doesn't get the respect he deserves. So I think.
Okay. And then I'm not trying to cut you off.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear. When you say make the company better, are we talking like possibly like management changes?
Yeah, we would
'Cause I
want to
wanna
talk about management
like
changes,
sales,
and then we want to
research
talk
and
about
development.
advertising,
Okay.
and then research and development.
Okay. So sales, advertising, and then R&D, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And then also we would do want to talk about compensation.
Okay.
Because
totally. Okay.
so
And compensation. So Hacker is obviously extremely excited about his own product, and as you said, he does feel like he is. Well, there's no doubt he is the brains behind the operation. He made the product. My client financially backs it, which they are both 50% share owners in this together. Is for the product to stay, for PowerScreen to be owned by HackerStar. What does your client want? Is that an option for the product to actually be owned by the company, or is that off the table?
no, I mean we have an offer from another party to sell them the product and then get licensing and get royalties.
Royalties.
Um,
Okay, yeah.
And the
That's what my
royalties
sense
would far out exceed the compensation he's making at
Okay.
HackerStar. But it doesn't seem from my conversation with him that, the money was the biggest, he doesn't want this company to fall apart either.
Yeah.
So I think maybe for as far as it goes with the rights to PowerScreen,
Yeah.
he's definitely willing to keep it in the company.
But he wants compensation for it.
Yeah.
Correct. And then what type of compensation is he looking for?
Okay, so I think he would be okay with,
We're talking about like percentages on royalties, correct? Is that what we're?
yeah.
Okay.
So one of the options that we have is to still have, so we could still sell the product to, so I don't know if you want to write this down just because you're by the board. So one of our options is to sell, we could sell the PowerScreen invention to Gates,
Okay.
and
That's what
give,
that was.
yep, and then whatever instead of calling it like deciding between royalty percentage and stuff, we'll just say, and the revenue that he would be getting from the sales, we would cut HackerStar in.
So HackerStar would get a cut of.
Yeah,
Is there a specific percentage that they give you or no?
I think we would be comfortable with giving them a 5 to 10%
Okay.
of the.
Okay.
Um,
of the overall.
Yep.
Okay. Is your I don't know if this is in your faculty. Do they actually give you a number on that? 'Cause I don't get specific numbers on
No,
mine
I
either.
just all I
Okay.
know is that
That's fine.
I can disclose that it would be if he decided to sell to Gates instead of keeping it within HackerStar
Yeah.
or splitting proceeds, he would be making more
More
money
than-
than he makes
Yeah.
yearly.
No, that makes sense. Now the only issue with this is that from my client's perspective is that that selling to Gates is obviously contingent upon a litigation
Yeah.
matter, right? So like if that were to happen, he would have to be going to court with regard to the employment contract. However, if they were to get a cut of 5 to 10%, then there wouldn't be no or any litigation because
They wouldn't be
Yes.
suffering any damage.
Okay, how does I don't know if your client expressed any concerns about keeping it within HackerStar, but when I talked to my client, we spoke a little bit about him wanting to have power screen owned by Hacker, but giving Hacker personally percentages on, hey, Mike, could you I don't know.
It's still on.
Okay, okay, sorry. Does it just go dim? Is that what it's
Yeah, I think it's because we forgot to
Oh,
do the
okay.
power cord setting.
My knowledge of computers sucks. Okay, so what he said to me was that he would be willing to possibly give Hacker a percentage of each sale if the product were to stay in the company.
So you're saying that we keep the product in the company and then he would maybe get like compensated or I guess like an incentive, like a bonus for.
Well, anytime it sells, whatever, because like, right, what happens is the product sells and then the revenue is that they make is out to make for paying salaries.
Yeah.
But it'd be more like it'd be like a commission type thing essentially,
Okay.
where it's like if he makes, I'm pretty sure it's Outer World, I'm pretty sure that's what it's Outer World
Yeah.
is. He'd be making like 10 to 15% is what we were looking at of the product. So like whatever that revenue is,
Of gross sales?
just on the product itself, is that what you're referring
Yeah,
to?
so what I'm basically talking about is,
Yeah.
so you're saying he would make 5% on the gross sales. So if you sell one for, if you sell one for $100,
Yeah.
he's gonna make $5 on it. Not after we take out, the shipping costs and all. So is it gonna be on gross sales or net, like what you got after everything was the expenses were taken out?
I'm assuming that, let's just say a power screen is sold for $100. What would normally happen would be that money would go to paying his salary or whatever and everything else in the company. But from what I understand, it's that 75%, let's just say he gets 15%, 85% of that would go to paying the company, and that extra 15 would just be his solely.
Okay,
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty sure
think-
that's how it
can
works.
we put that one up?
Yeah, that's one of the other ones that we're looking at. So it'd be keep. So one of the options is that we'll do option A. And option B here we can do keep power screen in HackerStar, and Alan would be receiving 15% royalty on. I think it's pretty much each sold item.
Yeah, so gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sold item. So yeah, whatever. I'm
Would
sure
that
it'd be like
would that be capped off? So, I mean, I'm saying, what if you sell, what if the sales far out exceed what the projected value is? Is he capped at, making $30,000 in incentives, or can he make $100,000 in incentives?
like can the percentage increase on the royalty?
No, I'm saying, so we would keep the 15%. That's fine.
Yeah.
But is that capped out? So 15% up until he makes $50,000 and then stop, or is that going to be 15% on every single?
Yeah, that's what he gets on every time the power screen is sold.
Okay.
I don't think there's any cap on it. There's a couple limitations with this offer that I want to express before we go any further, just so you're aware. Star doesn't want this. He obviously wants to repair the relationship, but he doesn't want this happening in the future.
Okay.
So he would need your client to come in and say, yes, okay, this is basically a sworn statement saying this power screen item is HackerStar Incorporated's product, only owned by them and nobody else. And then any future work that he does would also be. So we would want to clear up any possible ambiguities in the employment
So you're
contract.
saying you want to add an addendum. So offer B would be contingent upon the addendum to the original employment contract.
Essentially,
Okay.
is what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll fill that down. I want to make sure. So it would basically be like a statement from Hacker making the product HackerStars, just so we're everyone's on the same page, coming and say, okay, yeah, this is our product, and then clear up.
And with that statement,
Mhm.
and I mean, obviously, if we decide to take option B, I You know, I see that. But the issue that we have here is that my client is the one that's coming up with all of these inventions, and he's not really getting credit for them. So
Yeah.
if we keep if we're keeping the product within HackerStar, I think Alan he would want something on there that also said, or like be allowed to be more of an inventive genius. He would want something on there that says, yes, this product is for HackerStar, but it was created and it was created by Alan Hacker. So I think we'd be okay with
Like a label on the product or something. Or
Yeah.
something. I don't see why that would be
I guess he just wants
a
more
problem.
credit.
No,
He
I
wants
don't.
more credit for what he does, and he's upset because he feels as though he does all this work and comes up with these great inventions, and his ideas get shot down until somebody else was interested in it. Now he's just trying to, in his opinion, Star is just trying to, stifle his creative abilities, and so.
No, I can see where he gets that point of view. I mean, he's obviously making these products. Although I do also think that for a company to run, you can't, unless you have monetary backing or funding, it's hard to even get your product out there. There's no doubt he's the brains behind the operation. He's the one making this, but I think there's a two steps in it, which, I hope that Alan can realize, is that's the situation we're trying to remedy, right? Is can they, be a cohesive unity?
Yeah, and we definitely want this to be something long term because, like you said, we don't want to be back here in 2 years when his contract.
This is year 7 of 8, right? There's 2 years left.
6. Yes. Okay. We're in year 6, so.
Okay, year 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so.
And I'm just gonna ask before we even talk about the deals. Does he have any interest in bringing Gates in as a third party, as if they were gonna pay us royalties off of it, or have maybe there's some other options? Like, after presenting to Gates, he was really interested in what Alan was going and really understood the thought process and thought he would be coming up with a lot of other ideas. So like, how do you feel about Gates being a part investor?
I think we should. Well, let's just run with this idea for a second because that's something that he also talked about, and I'd like to get more information on how Hacker and his backers would want to, or I guess the type of control they want to impose on HackerStar's company. Because another possible alternative that Alan or Stanley spoke with me about was that bringing in these financial backers from Gates' financial backers, but he being Stanley, would want to retain like primary control over things. How much like control? Like, is it going to be split a third and a third and a third in ownership in the company? Because I think that if he were to bring in more backers, I think Stanley would still want to retain 50%, and then Alan would have to end up splitting shares with the. That's his only quarrel with it.
It's not really even that. I guess we're thinking about bringing them in. We're just thinking about, kind of creating a relationship with them so that they could invest in HackerStar directly. So it wouldn't even be, I guess, the investment. It wouldn't be like 50% ownership in the company. They would just be investing in the company.
Well, it makes sense. I just want to make sure that.
I just didn't know if he felt if what he wanted to do was to keep everything within HackerStar, or if he's willing to look at options that expand to different manager positions. And because I think Alan would rather, instead of even being 50% owner, would rather have a title of like creative genius or inventor, like lead inventor, and that would be what he dealt with.
I don't see a problem with giving him any title that he wants. I think that he could be lead inventor and head of research and development.
Yeah.
That could be, or however he feels he wants to lay it out there. You can add Esquire at the end of it if he feels the need to.
But we also don't want it to be like just like a fluff thing. Like just because the relationship and what I've kind of gathered for it is, especially in the age difference, as Mr. Starr thinks that my client is immature, and that's where they're continuing to butt heads.
Mhm.
So I mean,
Totally.
just conceding and giving him something like a child, that's not what we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would want to. He wants to be. I mean, he understands that Star brings the money, but Star doesn't understand, the business. Not that he doesn't understand business in general, but that he doesn't understand the business that they're in, and they've missed out on a lot of, opportunities because of lack of advertising and not advertising enough. And I think what you have is the same thing, the table that I have. So
Yeah.
I think you can see the trend in years that we've advertised more, like year 4.
Well, I'm just worried about the most recent year because if you look at like the net incomes and how much they're spending on advertising, I mean it continuously went up from year 3, or I mean through all the years it's went up. Their best financial year was year 4. It looks like. What I was concerned about was in year 6. This recent year, the one we're in, spending $204,000 on advertising and only netting $35,000.
And I think that is, and how my client explained that to me was that it's not even just the advertising, it's the timing of the advertising. So, and how new products work is once you get them, you need to get them into the market on the right time, and you need to be advertising at the right time. If you put a product out in the software industry, there's going to be 10 more products like it in the next month. So you need to get ahead of the curve. And so I think that also we would be looking maybe to bring in somebody else to do advertising, or having more open lines of communication pertaining to advertising, because my client definitely understands, in the industry and with how many, new products that there are, especially in the software industry, advertising timelines are very important. So
I mean I think only Stanley's concern was he just wanted somebody else to be the sales manager.
okay, so
Star might, Hacker had taken, because the sales and marketing manager is Hacker's title as of right now,
yeah,
and I think that Star wants for sure a new sales manager, one that he would want to, I think.
does he have any suggestions for that position? I don't think he would really.
He didn't give any suggestions in the fact pattern. He just said that he wanted to bring in a quote real sales manager. I don't know if that was meant to be personal or not, but
Yeah, I don't know if are you trying to bring, promote from within, or
it doesn't really speak to that. I don't think Stanley expressed that, but I think that it would be promoting from within. I think it's not that he wants to do it himself. He wants to hire someone to do it, but I think it would be an outside source for sales and marketing.
okay, so
He wants, well, what he really wants is for Hacker to just strictly focus on the products and then research and development. And he also expressed possibly having, well, not possibly, but having Hacker be the head of a research and development unit, and in that way he'd be able to bring in other, because I think there's one other developer, I think, where he's talking about bringing in another developer to work on the prior products, the first 2 that they've done, to try to get those to sell a little better. He can oversee someone who does that and then work on the stuff himself. But does Alan, can you express a need to still want to be sales and marketing manager, or is that something he's willing to forego?
No, I think he's definitely willing. And what you said about being the head of the research and development unit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm just trying to.
I thought there was like another.
Yeah, I think promoting within. So we would make.
Yeah.
So you're saying, and I guess this would go off of number B.
Yeah.
And then so we would make Hacker would be the products and research and development manager of that unit, and then he could have the other developer working underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you want to bring in another like an outside firm that does the sales and marketing.
Yeah, hire somebody who
Yeah,
is
and I think that'd be
who
good
runs just solely that
because then
department.
it's very. I think it'd be more objective then too,
Yeah.
and they're going to understand industry standards better than
Yeah.
he does. So, I think
makes sense.
I think we would be okay with that too, as long as just because we're bringing an outside source, that Hacker doesn't have any say in
Yeah.
what's going on. So I think the way he sees it is, even though that Star owns 50%, he owns 50% as well, and he's the one bringing the invention. So,
Yeah.
So I think option B I like, and I think we should continue to build off that and not bring in Gates and keep it the way we have it now.
Yeah.
Bringing in another advertising company. So
Yeah.
I think we should move now to the relationship, because even though his employment contract ends in a year or two, I think that we would like to have this be
Yeah.
longevity of the company, and especially if you're an inventor and your contract's up in a year,
Yeah.
you could just keep it, you could just hold an invention. So
Sure.
maybe we could extend the employment contract, and that's just an idea we can bring back to them. We're
Yeah,
not going
totally.
to try to talk about clauses of the employment contract, but
Yeah. From my when I talked to Stanley, he basically was just telling me that we're just looking for possible options at this point. No decisions or anything, because I think obviously they had a pretty bad fallout in the last heated discussion, and it dealt with threatening litigation. And they don't want to do that. I don't think anybody wants to do that. I don't know how Stanley would feel about the options that we've discussed. These are some of his own personal opinions that I'm discussing with you. I just that we're on the same page where if I go back to him, he's like, no, I don't want to do the royalty thing. I think the product's ours. I want to pursue litigation if he doesn't comply. That's ultimately up to Stanley and Alan, I think. I'm just trying to gather as many possible options as possible.
yeah, and I think it's so working underneath him, it would be Sparks is the guy, other Jim Sparks is the other guy.
Is that the other developer?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was a missing Yeah, so when he would be, so there'd be the research and development, and he would oversee Sparks, who would basically be doing a lot of the work on the other products, so he could focus on
Yeah.
this new one.
Okay, so on top of that, so being the head of, I like the title of, the
Yeah.
research and development manager and being in charge of the unit. Is that going to give him, what kind of support can he expect then with his ideas in the future? Because obviously, the way it goes with the industry they're in is you might have 5 things fail before you make, the next iPhone or the next
Yeah.
Microsoft. So that's how he's expecting. He knows that his idea before PowerScreen didn't really hit, but he wants the ability to make those mistakes so that he can have products that are going to be very profitable, like PowerScreen.
Well, I think that it's hard to, I don't know if I can make an attestation towards that, just because that's ultimately going to be Star's decision if he's financially backing a lot of it. I know that you can't bring in product after product if the bankroll doesn't fit, right? Which is where we were talking about the other alternative about bringing other backers in. Are you saying that Hacker wants basically just like a carte blanche discretion where he can just...
Not that. He doesn't mind, but I think in maybe having the outside advertisement or having the backing of a different research and developer, because when he brings these ideas to Star doesn't understand, I guess, in the industry right now for computer software, like what's going to sell. And my client has a better idea of that. So when he gets an idea and says, well, I don't think this is going to make us money right now, I think maybe we can need to bring in like a focus group to make those decisions, so they're more, which would be a criteria we could use, so it's less, I guess, arbitrary with him just saying, well, I have the money and you're immature, so no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think just one of the main things that Stanley expressed was just that he just didn't want the bickering to keep going. And I don't know, obviously I'm not there when these conversations are taking place. From what I gather from Stanley, it's that Hacker is degrading him in the workplace. He might have told you at Stanley instigates it.
They're
You know, like I said, I'm not going to say it's your client's fault. I'm not going to say it's not my client's fault. I don't really know whose fault it is, but we're just trying to repair this this relationship. And I just wanted to clarify when you were talking about, you know, bringing in more financial backers. I know that when I talked to Stanley, it was either one or the other. I know he didn't want to give royalties to Alan while bringing in more financial backers. He
Okay.
didn't want to mix the plans up. It was like sort of a one or the other
okay.
type deal. If I don't know how you feel about that, or if that's
I mean, these are all I can't, like I said, I have what the authority I have right now is
Yeah.
to not, you know, set in stone a deal, but I definitely think coming back with, you know, A, B, and then C would possibly be to bring in other financial backers.
yes. I'll put that up there. See right here. This would be like the financial backer option.
Yeah.
And what was his name again? It was Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gates.
And have them invest and maybe make them part shareholder. I don't
Yeah.
have any figures on that.
I just know that the only contingency with this is just that.
Okay, he wants to know like A, B, or C. He doesn't want it to be a combination of.
Yeah, and then he also, if we do go with the financial backer, it's going to have to be where. Sorry, I've never seen a screensaver on my computer like that before. It's going to have to be no way he loses control of the company. He wants to.
He
still,
wants to continue to be a 50% shareholder.
That's what I've gathered. He said that he just doesn't want to lose real control.
Majority,
So
okay.
real control to me would be, I don't think that has to do with like a lot of the decision makings. I think it has to do with actually being a 50% shareholder.
Okay.
Because that is real
But he's
control.
okay with kind of giving some of like the, I guess, control of what happens within the business and how which inventions they choose to, you know, take forward and research more. That would be
Yeah.
all hackers. Because I think, you know, repairing the relationship is our number one objective, and I think if we
Yeah.
were able to separate kind of, so there's no stepping on toes, like, you know, he understands that as the research and developer,
Yeah.
Alan is going to be doing whatever he can to make sure they have the best ideas that are possible. So I think with A, B, and C, those are good options. And now with moving to the relationship, what do you think are, well, first I think separating their positions.
Yeah.
And so we know who's in charge of what,
Mhm.
so there's no stepping on toes, I think is a good solution. Do you have any other?
Yeah, I think that he wants to be, I just want to make sure this is still, yeah, we're good. I think he still wants to be chairman of the board. I don't know how Alan feels about that. But you know, he was pretty vague as to what exactly he meant by real control.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd probably have to go back and talk to him a little
Yeah.
more about that because I think he just wants to remain a shareholder if other financial backers do come in.
Okay.
But the only question I'd like to ask is that if our goal is obviously to repair this broken or damaged relationship, do you think that this is a personal opinion of yours? Do you think that bringing in other financial backers is the best way to do that? Or do you think he would just circumvent the problem to where his other financial backers come in and Alan and his financial backers are like, oh, buddy, sort of A and B, and then Star, my client's just sitting on the outside, like
Yeah.
that's
I
the
mean,
one thing I'm worried
For
about.
me,
I don't know
it
how
more
you feel about it.
seems as though that Star kind of wants to just like make money off of the business and not really have to be there. Because I mean, he's not there every day. He doesn't come in like my client is actually in the office every day, working on inventions. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, true. And then, I'm assuming there's no way that your client is just gonna, you know, say, oh, let's just make amends and then this product's the company's. He doesn't seem like he'll ever do that.
I
Right.
don't know if it doesn't seem like he would
Yeah.
ever do that. I mean, that can definitely be our option D that I'd bring back to him. I don't think that he would want to just. I think there's a lot of ego involved in this, but I don't think
Yeah.
he wants to just give it back because he did try to give it to them 6 different times and they said no. So maybe if Star could apologize and, you know, kind of put out there that he understands
Yeah.
the creative genius and that he's not going to doubt him on every single invention he has just because he had one or two failed inventions. If he can come up with something like Power Screen that's going to make the company a substantial financial gain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I think Star would ultimately, be willing to apologize and make amends. And I liked your idea about, moving forward with the company and possibly bringing in, like an outside source who's more familiar with
Yeah.
which products to.
Yeah, I think definitely having like bringing a different marketing agency is going to help because it's going to be more objective standards. It's not just going to be hacker saying like I've been coding or I've been to conventions and I know this and this is popular. So I think that's definitely something we're going to bring back. And then as far as the relationship goes, I'm thinking maybe like a vacation that they take together, or like a camping or
we could send them to the
/fishing
Bahamas.
trip.
We can send them to the Bahamas. I think.
I think since the company only has two, it's a smaller company.
That's funny.
They definitely, and with very few employees, they need to start doing something more, I guess,
This is creative
bonding
thinking.
outside of, just the workplace. So.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on the last thing with regard to I know that Hacker has better insight than Star. It seems like to make these decisions about like the software industry. I don't know. Like I said, because the only thing I got from my client is that he said he didn't want to lose real control. He is the chairman of the board, so I'm assuming when they do these, or decide which products to market, there's a vote that happens. Is that?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's how the majority of people you get in the conference room.
Yeah, but the
Whoever's on
thing
the
that
board.
we would, so we would still want it to be the same percent because bringing in another, obviously bringing in financial backers would change the percentages, but bringing in a marketing agency wouldn't.
Yeah.
We would both
totally.
still, it'd be 50%. So.
The marketing agency is fine and the sales manager is fine. I was just.
You can't really have a vote when there's two people
Totally.
of the board. So.
Yeah.
So I think definitely bringing back these options, and then on top of it, the relationship options that we have, and that you've offered, incentives, and your client has offered to, kind of apologize and accept. And my client is willing to apologize, as well. And then, your client is willing to just, kind of portray that, we understand. Like I understand and I support you, and that's just really what my client's looking for. So.
Yeah, I like this third party idea regarding which
definitely
products
more
to
objective.
pursue. I think that if we brought in a third party, where Alan could pitch to, and then the third party could give their advice to Star, and that way Star could be better informed to either say yes or no.
Yeah.
I think that's a very creative solution. I think and that would be. Would that be under the option of B, or are we talking under all options?
I think it would be under something that, just something that we would bring back. I don't think it would be pick A, B, or C, and then whether or not, because
Totally.
what I have authority to do is to bring back options
Same.
To keep this out of court. So I think that's just something that we'll bring back that as a criteria to make the relationship better.
Yeah.
Bringing in a third party would help both sides because then it's more objective.
Yeah.
And it's
I think that
It's
should
hard-
pertain to
it's-
all the
yeah.
options. I like the third party option too, to keep everyone well informed. I think that would repair the relationship.
yeah,
as
and
well.
then we'll do some more like
Mhm.
maybe bringing in. Maybe they could go to therapy.
Group therapy sessions.
Yeah. So everybody
many?
felt like comfortable and as their attorneys and us speaking to our clients separately, I think we want to still make sure that the deep rooted issues are cleared up.
Yeah.
So
How many sessions do you think would be sufficient?
I think 3 sessions.
3 sessions.
And
Okay.
then
3 sessions.
a camping/fishing trip.
Little mountain wood fishing trip. I like that. Okay, we can do that. 3 sessions, then possibly maybe a little vacay.
Yeah, I think those would be. That's like how we can repair the relationship.
A little company vacation.
Let's get them back to thinking about why they went into business together
I like
in the
this.
first place. So
Do you have any destinations in mind? We have fishing.
fishing/camping seems like something they would like to do together.
Too. Fishing.
And then maybe when Star goes to some of the expos that or not Star, when Hacker goes to the expo, Star could come with him, so he feels that, he's trying to be invested in the company, even if he doesn't have, background in computer science, he's at least making an effort to understand the industry, so I think,
Attend together
yes.
to show the products off at the expos. That's nice. Okay, so really we have pretty much all the options on the board. The only one that's not up there is the original option where they apologize to each other. We bring in this third-party outside source.
I mean, if you want to put that up there as option D,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring back as many options as I can to
same.
my client,
Yeah, it would be so because I think that like when I spoke to Stanley, well I know that when I spoke to Stanley, he was saying like if they can't just repair it and then make the changes required that are necessary to move forward with it.
well, I think option B then kind of goes with your option D.
It
because
does,
it'd be
it
keeping
does.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same thing, just subtracting the royalty on the product itself. That's what he really wants is just for it to go forward, it be their product, and then make changes that would be necessary to go forward in the future. I don't know
I
how
don't think my
feasible
client
that
would
is.
be, I mean, especially with the other option we have, I don't think that
Yeah.
in his ability, because what he could do is just, keep the product and wait 2 years and then,
I don't know if there would be any.
because there's the compete, this agreement, I mean, in court, it, lacks backing. We obviously don't want to go to court, but otherwise he could just keep Power Screen for a year or 2 years and then sell it because it's still his invention. So, I don't want to get into that because I think
No,
what
I
we're doing right now is a lot more positive
I
than
agree.
dealing with that. And, like the actual issue here is not the employment contract or it's their relationship and him feeling like he is taken advantage of.
Okay. Well, I think we've gathered.
Yeah, I think
some
what we
really,
have here
really
is
good
good. All
options.
this stuff we'll bring back, and then I think we would set. I think it would be best for us after this to set maybe a negotiation or a mediation session where the parties would be involved to sit through and talk through what the best agreement, or if we're going to take ideas from every agreement, and we can schedule that after bringing these options back to our clients. So.
We talked about a mediation session.
Yeah, we'll schedule one.
Okay, schedule mediation. Okay, and then so these are all to help prepare the relationship itself. Obviously the apologies, mutual, and then the actual options we talked about. The option D and B are essentially the same thing minus the 15. And depending on whether during that mediation session that we're scheduling, they decide that okay, you know what, maybe everything is okay and we don't need to do a royalty. That can be their decision.
And I mean, I think
That's totally their
since
decision.
I think that this more has to do with the deep-rooted issues of their relationship.
I think so too.
So I think this is what we have is good. So I'm just going to.
Yeah.
I think we should type this up really quick and then.
Okay. I don't know if I don't really think of or can't think of anything else. He's the head of research and development who oversees Sparks. We'll bring in outside sales manager and outside marketing, and then that third party, the third party consultant for which products they think will sell to give more
and
advice.
Focus group.
Third party, let me write that down here. Up here. Third party consult. And what was the other thing?
I think focus groups would be helpful.
Focus groups.
Okay.
Okay.
Recording and then just
Okay,
we can type this up.
just click that middle button right there.
I have a Mac, I know, and it